ready to travel to the Maldives? I'm here to provide my full experience and an honest, unbiased review of the Ayada Maldives resort. The Maldives has always been on me and my wife's bucket list, probably even before we met, so naturally this was the destination we picked for our honeymoon. It was about a 34-hour journey starting from San Francisco to Singapore, then to Malé, the capital city of Maldives. We then took a domestic flight to a tiny remote island followed by a speedboat to our final destination. The travel to get here was brutal, but overall the experience was smooth for our first international COVID trip. We finally arrived to Ayada around sunset, where paradise awaited us. Upon arrival, guests are met with a grand entrance from the staff with a Maldivian song, a cold hand towel, and a buggy that was our initial mode of transportation. We were also greeted by our butler who came right up to us and somehow knew our names before we even introduced ourselves. He then brought us around the resort, followed by check-in and a room tour. We exchanged WhatsApp numbers so we could send all requests directly through him. We actually stayed in 2 different types of villas during our time here because of the limited availability. I believe the resort was running at around 80% capacity. We began our stay in the Sunset Lagoon suite for the first 2 nights, which is half on land, half over water. The last 4 nights were in the Sunset Ocean suite, which is completely over water. We were happy to experience both since each had its own features. After settling in, we were finally ready to start our vacation. And I'm not exaggerating when I say words can't quite describe what we experienced. We stayed here for a total of 6 nights, which was absolutely perfect. Overall, the rooms were very nice and well designed, and we had more than enough space for the 2 of us. We'd 100% recommend a sunset facing room. Golden hour here was like no other. The only downside is waves are a little rougher on this side of the resort, so it's not an optimal location if you plan to do a lot of swimming and snorkeling next to your villa. Now let's talk a little bit about the island and resort. Ayada opened in 2011 and took 3 years to build. It's located in the Gafu Dalu Atoll, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. It's also worth noting that the owner is from Turkey, so the influence here was pretty obvious from the food to the decor. The first thing we noticed here was how clean the island was. Of course, cleanliness is more scrutinized than ever, and the resort did a fantastic job both in the villas and around the island. This ties into their fabulous staff and service. It felt like everyone genuinely cared if our stay was enjoyable. The staff is still required to wear masks, while the guests are not required to. This was nice and is probably the most normalcy we've felt in years. We thought they did a great job of making every corner of the resort feel a little different, which helps make the island feel bigger than it really is. You'd be hard pressed to find any areas here that don't make you say wow. Bringing a drone is also a must. The surprises seemed endless. Since we were celebrating our honeymoon and also my wife's birthday, we made sure to let them know ahead of time. Before booking, we reached out to multiple resorts including Sinevajani, Intercontinental, and Movenpick, just to name a few. See what specials they could offer us to help us celebrate. Ayada was able to hook us up with welcome and birthday bed decorations, a few special dining options, and even a jet lag massage. Speaking of, let's review their amenities. The resort actually has a lot to offer. The beachside infinity pool was the busiest part of the resort and includes a bar, water lounge chairs, and day beds. This is also where lunch is served. There's a spa with very good treatment options, private outdoor movie theater, wine and cheese lounge, and a rec center which has different courts for multiple sports. Ping pong and pool tables, and a small gym. Unfortunately, due to the windy weather, we weren't able to enjoy the water sports. But it wasn't a huge loss since we were able to enjoy the natural beauty of what the island had to offer.
My life in the sunshine. Everybody
The island is packed with all sorts of plants and wildlife. We really enjoyed looking down to the ocean, counting the different types of fish. I'm sure we saw at least 24 different species. This is a great segue into the cuisine here, since the fish was probably our favorite item on the menu. We opted for their all-inclusive crystal package, which includes all 3 meals plus a pretty extensive drink package, some alcohols included. Breakfast and dinner were both served at Magoo, which is a buffet-style restaurant. All other restaurants are an additional charge. I'd rate the food and beverages a 5 out of 10 due to the inconsistency. I totally understand the lack of ingredients on such a small island, but flavor variety was lacking in my opinion. About half of our dishes were great, the other half not so much, and we finally found our go-to drinks towards the end of the trip. We dined outdoors most of the time except when there's bad weather. This is actually something I want to highlight. I mentioned we weren't able to enjoy any water sports during our stay. This is directly correlated to the unpredictable weather. There would be moments when we'd step outside from our villa into the rain, while my weather app was currently showing sunshine in our location. Some staff members were saying the unpredictable weather is due to global warming, or maybe this is just typical in a tropical climate. It's no secret that the sea level is rising though. Over 80% of the islands are less than 1 meter above sea level. Like I said before, this review is unbiased, but I fully recommend you take a trip here before this beautiful country has completely vanished. Experts say it won't happen for another 60 years, but you never know what tomorrow brings. Get out there and explore the world. The Maldives is definitely not a bad place to start. Thanks for watching.